Hey guys, Unfrequented World, and we're just down at the Mitsubishi dealer in North Bay. Today's the day to get the car serviced, an oil change, and winter tires. So I thought I would clarify a couple of things that people have asked me, and a mistake we mentioned about winter tires in an earlier video, so we'll clarify that. I'll show you guys what I've put on the car. So this is the new Mitsubishi hat. So when you see me wear that hat, that means we're doing a Mitsubishi PHEV video. So that'll be your clue that that's what you're watching. Okay, so for winter tires, we've settled on the Yokohama. And these are the Ice Guard. Nice, solid winter tire, studless on there. And these are 18-inch rims. So that's the clarification that I have to make from the earlier video. You cannot drop down a size on the PHEV if you have an electric parking brake. You have to go with the 18s, otherwise you wear out the sensor. So 18s it is. New tires, winter tires on the car. What better time to perform another test? 11,048 kilometers. We've got a full charge. We'll reset the tripometer. Okay, so we're going to just do another test today to see how do these Yokohama Ice Guard tires affect our driving distance with the PHEV. Brand new tire, they're quite a bit more aggressive than the regular touring tire that we had on there. So is that going to make a huge difference in distance? We've got our route that we used in the previous testing. 63 kilometers is the mark to beat. EV cruising range, the guessometer is showing 45 kilometers. And we're not going to use any heating or cooling. As in the earlier tests, guys, we are going to use B0, coast as much as we can. We're going to use B5 when we're coming to a full stop, try to brake and regen as much as we can, and between that combination of those two, see if we can beat 63 kilometers. So I also wanted to give a full shout out to Mitsubishi and their efforts to promote green driving. You know, there are only a handful of companies, Tesla, Mitsubishi. I think the plug-in hybrid is a step well above a normal regular hybrid, and there are not a lot of companies doing the plug-ins. That is the way of the future. It may change, but the innovators have to come first, and Mitsubishi are one of those innovators. So my hat's off to them. I have to say, they're doing an excellent job in promoting a change. I've already saved a ton of money in the first 6 months, projected to save even more over the course of the winter here. My yearly calculations are somewhere going to be around $2,500 in fuel versus what I was burning in my Subaru Forester Turbo. So, and from what I've gotten so far in this first half of the year, we're right on target to hit that projection of $2,500 a year. Back in 2008, when I bought a Ford Escape Hybrid, I drove it for 4 years. We had a few issues with the vehicle at that point. I wanted to trade it in for a new hybrid, and I was absolutely astounded to find out that Ford was no longer making Escape hybrids at that point. And there was only one reason for that, and that was that they had just given in to the demand of the big oil companies of, we don't want to promote this technology. That is the only reason for it. Because years later, they started doing hybrid technology again. But there was that in-between phase where they didn't want to touch it. It was right in amongst that time when the first electric cars were coming out. They were all scrapped, and there was, all these controversial things taking place. And from that point on, I swore that I wouldn't buy another Ford, and I haven't. And I mean, you can make your own decisions on that, but to me that was, you don't offer a vehicle that is sustainable, green energy, the way of the future, and then all of a sudden after a couple models you don't offer it anymore. There's no reason why they stopped offering that. So for companies like Mitsubishi to take that step forward and say, hey, we're gonna be a part of this revolution and promote these cars and vehicles that can drive on electricity entirely, hey, my hat's off to them. Yokohama Ice Guard tires, just like any winter tire, you can feel it. You can feel them rumbling along on the dry pavement here. Put them on a little bit early, but there's going to be a rush soon. I do live in Canada, and many a times we've had snow mid-October, so with the kids and everything, I just thought it would be super safe and get it done today. But you can feel them. You can feel the the road vibration. You can hear the road noise a little more. I also verified today with Mitsubishi North Bay what is the actual oil change schedule for my PHEV. So they told me that the number is 8,000 kilometers. It doesn't matter if you do that on electric or with the ICE, internal combustion engine. It's 8,000 or 8 months, whatever comes first. Because I told them, I said, you know, I've got 11,000, almost 11,000 kilometers on the car, but maybe 4,400 of that is with the engine and the rest is electric. And they said it doesn't matter. That being said, they went on to tell me that if you're 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 kilometers over, it's not a big deal. As long as you're trying to get in on time, you haven't gone over, you know, you're not 10,000 kilometers over an oil change. This is their words, not mine. And you're showing your due diligence that you're getting your oil changes done, it's not going to affect your warranty. I do have the Diamond warranty, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, being 1,000 kilometers over wasn't going to cancel my warranty or something like that. And they said, no, absolutely not. Just make sure you're bringing in the car regularly and getting it serviced, and you'll be fine. I also inquired while I was there about the battery warranty. I know there's a 10-year warranty, but I asked them, nobody mentioned any numbers to me when I bought the car in terms of, is it a percent degradation that's covered under warranty? So after, you know, I've heard the number 20% thrown around on the online forums from some other countries. And I said, is that the case? And I couldn't really get an answer from them. They said they would look into it. So Kyle, if you're watching this, you know, shoot an answer here onto this page and let everybody know what is the warranty for the battery for Canada for the PHEV. Is there a specific number that we've got to watch for once it hits that number, or is it is there a certain performance factor that we need to take into consideration, voltage per cell or something? Let me know what it is. Let the viewers know what it is. And because I'm curious to know exactly what is my warranty on my battery in this car. Maybe it's just the road noise from these tires, but it feels like I'm not coasting as far. We'll see. We shall see. Okay, so there is a bit of controversy with this whole dropping down a tire size thing. I was just talking to a buddy of mine who works for another dealership in town. I'm not going to say who they are, but he drives a plug-in hybrid van. And he was telling me that he does not know what Mitsubishi is talking about when they say that I can't drop down a tire size because of the electronic brake. But my service guys were adamant today that that was the case. So I don't know what's going on. He was telling me how the braking system works, which is just a servo which applies pressure to the inside plate on the rear brake for your emergency brake. And he's saying that it doesn't matter what size of tire you have on there, because it doesn't know what size of tire you have on there. Is he wrong? Was I just taken? Mitsubishi? I don't know. Somebody come on here and explain to me why I couldn't drop down a winter tire size. Now, I'm kind of an old-fashioned guy when it comes to maintenance and doing things for yourself and, you know, saving a dime where you can for realistic things. And I have to say, I laughed today at the dealership because as I was negotiating these tires here, what the price was, what, you know, what I wanted in size, etc., they set a nut on the counter, and they, you know, she was going on about the size of this nut, and I said to her, I stopped her and I said, well, the Outlander PHEV has 10-year roadside assistance, and I thought she was telling me this because the nuts were a different size, and that I would have to, if I was going to change a tire, that it wouldn't be the regular same size. Well, no, eventually I figured out what she was getting at was that I had to buy all new nuts for these winter tires. And apparently this is an Ontario thing as well, that you need to have the low fit chrome nuts for winter tires, otherwise it's a safety issue. How much were they? 50 bucks. So that's not the part I laughed at. The part I laughed at was when I asked her, well, do you guys store my nuts? And she said, if you buy the box. So Mitsubishi, I can say, actually has the box that I store my nuts in. I know that's a mouthful. And I had to pay 20 bucks for the box. Is that kind of ridiculous? Kind of, but okay, whatever. Whatever. At this stage in my life, I'm just like, just do it. I gotta say that PHEV feels more manly. A little more rugged. I can feel every little bump, every little... We're not just gliding along like we're in some luxury sedan anymore. We're off-roading now. Even though we're still in town on pavement. 49.9. We're gonna make it. Oh. Hey, we made it 50 kilometers. Still not running. And there it kicked on. 50.8 kilometers, guys. That's all we could get with the new tires. Okay, so we also had a user error with this trip. I didn't record the whole trip. I forgot. We missed 11 kilometers before oh crap, it's not running, and connected the dog and started recording. But we can take a look at the stats that we have for the 40 kilometers that we recorded. The top number here is the trip we just did. We only have 40 kilometers recorded. My fault. But it took 1 hour and 1 minute. And if we look at this bottom trip here, this was the original test that we did, trying to baby the car as far as we could go in electric. Took 1 hour and 36 minutes. Look at our glide percent, 47.2% on the first trip. And on this last trip, we only achieved 36.9%. And I was really trying to stretch that just as much as the first trip. So I think there is it's just a huge difference in the way these tires grip. If we take a look at the stats, 38.9 average speed, 62 kilometer maximum speed, and down here we regened 9.3%. So a little bit more than the last trip. This trip here, the original trip, we only regened 6.1%. So I did realize, I thought tonight that it was a different time of day. Traffic was a little bit heavier. We had a little bit more stop and go the first probably 15 kilometers of the trip. And that's where that regen number comes in. So none of these tests are perfect, guys. There's always a ton of variables. But for a first trip with new tires, that's what we're getting. They are not as rolly as the original tires that came on the 2018 PHEV. Let's calculate 51 divided by 63 times 100. That's our percent difference, guys. We went 80.9, so we'll say 19% less the distance that we did in the first test. So by putting the new tires on, we lost 19% travel distance. So that's just one more variable, guys. When everybody's asking, you know, how come I'm not going as far as the next guy? It could be your tires. It could be as simple as the treads that you have, what type of tire you're using. Is it an all-season? Is it a winter? That can affect range, as we just saw, by a large amount. 20% difference here compared to our first test. So, I mean, taking variables into account, there's going to be a little bit of plus or minus there to that test, but I could feel the car was definitely not rolling like it usually does. So just something to keep in mind. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next week with another test.